much. I will call this meeting to order. And it is now 8:33 a.m. Certification of open meeting law been requirements?
Yep, they've been met.
All right. We need an adoption of the agenda.
I will move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll adopt the agenda. Adoption of August 15th, 2023 minutes.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's move forward. All right, number 5. Let's go to reports. Digital media update.
All right, so it's been a little bit since we've met. So lots to go over. Some of the issues we're facing right now, we're having an air conditioning unit issue, but looks like we're going to get that fixed by Wednesday in our server room. So excited to get that fixed because we've been dealing with that for the last couple of weeks, but maintenance has been pretty diligent on trying to fix it. So excited to get that done because we're having some ice build up on our air conditioning unit. We're going to start moving our equipment over that's in this room over to the new decor room starting early January. So this will be our last meeting, I believe, in here. Should be our last one because I think we would meet again in February.
Yep.
So by then we should be long moved over to the new room. So we'll be doing that probably like later in the first week of January and hoping to get things up and running by mid-January over there. So that'll be a really big project, and we're working with the audio architects and trying to get everything to work. So it's a first for everyone, so it'll be a really big learning experience for us.
Well, can I ask real quick, does that mean there's going to be a few meetings for Trempealeau County not being televised and recorded and so on?
It seems like, I believe there might be a couple that we might not go live with next month. But I anticipate most of them being able to be fine. It's just, I planned on moving things this week, but we're not allowed to do any meetings over there because they're not open to the public until the 8th, so we can't legally have meetings over there yet. It's like audio architects really wanted me to move it in December. We kind of started planning around it, then realized we can't do it, unfortunately. So. Now we have to wait till January, right before the opening date, and then try to move everything really quickly and get everything installed and working.
Sure, everything working.
And so I'm not 100% sure when that'll happen. We'll be ready, but we're going to try to do as fast as possible. Probably come in on a weekend and test everything out. So it'll be a busy January. I can tell you that for sure.
Gotcha.
We've been just doing quite a few winter projects, and right now we're doing a little Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year with the staff departments. So kind of a way to kind of a holiday greeting video from the Trempealeau County staff, which people seem to enjoy our Thanksgiving video that we put out too. So that's been really fun. We've been doing basketball games and concerts, meetings, obviously. So there's a lot going on. We're kind of wrapping up our donation campaign as well. So it's been a pretty busy December. Also getting ready for the Wisconsin Community Media Conference and Awards. I believe the awards are due on the 5th, or the entries for the awards are due on the 5th of January. So we'll be submitting our best shows for that in early January, so excited for that, and hopefully we can bring home some awards. The conference is in, I believe, I don't remember the exact date, but it's in May this year, and it will be in Eau Claire this year, which is kind of nice. It's nice and close, versus typically it's in like the Madison area, so a little bit shorter of a drive, so that'll be nice. So really excited for some of the events coming up, and hoping to bring home some awards. I'll have my new staff member, that wasn't my last thing, we have a new staff member, Danielle Johnson. I'll have her just come in quickly just to introduce herself, and she's running the meeting, so then I'll have her pop back in. So
That'd be great.
go grab her.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Danielle Johnson. I'm originally from Jackson County, actually. So I graduated from Western Technical College in April, and now I'm here. So I really enjoy it.
Awesome.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
So I know you full-time here then?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
a full-time
Awesome.
person. Yep.
Perfect. Great to know.
Yeah.
So how do you like it so far? I know you haven't
I
been here
love it.
forever, but
Yeah, no, I really like it here.
Okay, good.
Everything I do is kind of what I wanted to do with my degree, so it's great.
How did you hear about us anyway? Oh,
So-
you guys know each other before here?
So yes, she actually applied for a Jackson County 4-H scholarship, and I remembered what she was going for back before she even started college, and I actually connected with her mom, who's a 4-H leader, and I was like, "How's Danielle doing?" And she's like, "Well, actually," and I'm like, "Hang on, I actually know of a job she can apply for." So
Oh, that's, you
I
helped get her in here. There's yeah.
have connections.
Well, thanks. Yep, thanks for
I-
recruiting.
you know, it's just part of my job.
And the opening happened to be in her degree, so what good timing.
yeah, that's great. Awesome. Good deal.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice
Appreciate
meeting you guys.
All right, so other than that, that's all I have for my digital media update.
Anybody have any questions
Any
for this young
questions?
man? How's the donation thing going? I mean, how did it go? Or
Pretty good so far. We're a little bit, I think we're like $60 short of our goal right now, but we're really close, so
Yeah,
I think we'll
that's-
get it before the end of the year. So, yeah, I think it's been good, and we might have to adjust things a little bit next year, but yeah, it's kind of something that's been in place since I've got here.
good deal. Have you ever approached TCC?
Yes. Oh, they send us money. Yes.
Oh, do they? Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
Okay.
They send us quarterly. They send us, I think, about $2,500. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm
Yep.
glad to see a lot of communities.
That's
or
awesome.
Municipalities that have their own television stations, the cable channels don't work with them. It's a rarity around here. It's usually quite the opposite, so that's good to see.
Yeah, I work with TCC, and they're good.
They're
I
good.
I think they're a great company. I mean, they treat me good, so.
That's good.
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that. All right, we'll move on to the museum update. So who's going to be doing the museum update?
That's
think
usually a
Nancy's.
placeholder. So the museum update is usually a placeholder, and that's meant to be in case they did have a update, but it's just a placeholder.
Okay, got it. Okay, you, okay, oh, look at
Yep,
that.
Nancy's here.
Perfect timing.
Am I really?
Yep.
Uh-oh. That's not,
Museum update wise.
maybe that's not good. Okay, I gotta turn this on
Yep.
here, right? Okay. So, what, you're waiting for me to give my report?
Yeah,
Well, now that it's colder, I have been spending more time updating the website, you know, putting more pictures and things on there. And it used to be that when you went to the Trempealeau County homepage, there was a button right there for the historical website. And then, what was it, a year or two ago that they kind of changed everything? And now, I don't know, I'm not even sure where it is. Somebody said it was under tourism, which didn't make much sense to me. So I wondered how many other people have been able to easily navigate to the website, the historical website.
Not right, no, I haven't.
It's,
I think when they changed computer systems or whatever, it screwed everything up.
Well,
Or servers or whatever.
it's, you know, the county's helping us pay the maintenance, and it just seems that it ought to be there so that people can easily access it, and now you really can't. I wonder how many people going there looking for the historical website know they got to keep digging and find it under tourism. That doesn't really make much sense, so I
who
was kind of
controls the
hoping.
website? Somebody know? Don, do you know?
Yeah, IT.
Oh, it is,
We
okay.
could talk to them and see if they can make that easier.
Yeah.
A discussion we could have with IT, because that's.
So, as part with the Parks Committee too, we've been talking about what we could do with the website to promote the tourism
Right.
piece of things and how that could potentially look different. So I believe they're coming to our January meeting, and if your button truly is in that tourism area, then that could be room for discussion there too.
Yeah, it just, I just don't know many people going to that, that homepage know that they have to keep digging to find it. That doesn't seem quite
Of course, we
right.
can't, I'm sure everybody wants to have their button on the front page, and that's not gonna be possible,
No,
so.
but this doesn't really fit any other category. I mean, it's not the jail roster, and it's not,
Right.
some of the other ones.
It's just the idea of if people in their own minds, if they go there, they're looking at, okay, museum, where does that fit under? So
Yeah.
that's, I understand.
Yeah.
And I would imagine, that's an economic development. I kind of guessed why it's there, but I don't know.
Still buried.
Yeah, it is buried. I
I
would
don't
say.
see it under tourism.
It's actually under visitors.
Okay.
So I just typed in Trempealeau
okay.
County Historical Society, and it pulled me up to the visitors page where it says museums, and then it has the Old Main, Trempealeau County Historical Society, Arcadia Historical Society, and Oliva Historical
The
Society.
visitors.
You have to.
If you also go to tourism, and then click on the sub menu, it's under there as well.
Well, I know it's there. It's just.
Oh,
I
yeah,
wonder
there.
For how many people that's
Gonna know where it's
a
at.
logical
Yeah.
place for them to look.
Well,
So-
we do
There's a
have
community-
historical, sorry.
Sorry. No. Go
I
ahead.
was just noticing that they've got the historical districts and sites in the tourism, which makes sense to me. The museums, scenic drives, I don't know. But we can, either way, we can talk about it and see if there is anything else that we can do to try to,
Yeah, just to make it a little easier for people to find it. And you'd be surprised how many people will come to the county. Usually it's maybe a genealogical search. They've got relatives from this county. They want to see where great-grandma lived and grew up. I mean, there's a lot of people that do it. So that's money coming into the county. So if you can help them access these things, I think that's to everybody's benefit.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a community tab where a lot of different, like the Parks and Rec, Safety, Schools, Services, Extension is under. Do you think maybe that community tab would be better suited to house the museum?
I don't know.
Definitely something to talk about.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, something to think about.
Okay, good.
And other than that, I guess we're just keep plugging away at our historical shows and everything. And I've had a lot of people that'll come up and say, they really like the shows and that they've learned a lot. So I guess that's a good thing. And that's about it, I guess,
Okay.
isn't it, Kevin? Unless you can think
Awesome.
of anything else. Sorry if I'm running late.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
We'll just move on to number,
Yeah, I'll
or
go do my
5C. Who wants to start? Yes,
You're the chair, you get to pick.
4-H.
I might have, in a way, volunteered myself.
Yes, you did.
So I do have my educator report in your guys' packet. I've been pretty busy. I went back from October until December since we didn't have our last meeting. So for state programming, I actually was working, the Fall Forum is our state youth and volunteer conference for 4-H. And I've been working on creating a bylaw document to help clubs make better bylaws, because you guys don't see them, but I do quite often, where I'm like, oh, that doesn't belong in your bylaw document, or I'm like, that you can't do that. So I've been trying to create a way to help teach clubs and groups how to review their bylaws, but make them something that can be a little more sustainable, because they're living documents and they're supposed to be reviewed every year, and they really don't get reviewed. I mean, I've had volunteers call me and say, Andrea, I can't find my bylaws. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, do you know where they were last? And they're like, well, yeah, they were in my house, and my ex-husband burned them with all my stuff. So, like, I don't know if we have another copy somewhere. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well,
That's not good.
yeah, I'm like, it happens. But, so yeah, I was working on that. That actually went pretty well. That was my first time teaching that session, and I'm hoping to kind of build off of it and make it better so that I can continue to teach it, especially just in our county, but in other counties as well. And then stuff that I did for both counties, I've been working with Emily Crook. She's the La Crosse County educator. We want to do a leadership day for essentially kind of like Fall Forum, but closer, where we focus a little bit more on like, okay, club leaders, here's what you can do, here's some tools that we can give you, and then youth leaders, here's how you guys can get more involved in your club. Because the whole idea, everyone says we do 4-H for our kids, but actually we should be doing it with our kids. That's what our youth and adult partnership is. We should not be the adult coming in and telling kids this is what we're going to do. It's the kids and the adults having the conversation of what do we want to do. So we're hoping to do that coming up here in January. I'm already planning camp. I've been working with Annie Lisinski from Buffalo County, where we've been working with the YMCA Camp Pepin for the past couple of years to have our camp there. It's actually a pretty awesome facility. They have a zip line, so I mean, I like zip lines and kids like zip lines, so it's a pretty fun experience. We're getting ready to get our camp counselor applications out and train some new camp counselors for this year. I feel like I say these all the time, but I've been still working on getting our charters and annual financial reports in. I have 30 between the two counties, and I mean, you contact somebody 15 times, and then maybe the 14th they finally actually read your email, so still working on getting those in and approving them. And then I had to send out some letters here shortly. I attended an in-person meeting last week for our regional program where we got to learn a little bit more about some stuff that's going on in 4-H land. And I'm also planning our virtual cultural cookie baking workshop with some new colleagues this year. We're going to be teaching Mexican hot chocolate cookies, which sound really awesome. I get to make those. We're going to do we talked about these a little bit, now I forgot. One of them is going to be fortune cookies. One of them is an English pudding, but I learned this because our colleague who spent some time in England, pudding apparently just means dessert. It doesn't mean pudding. So, fun fact. Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, oh, yeah, we can make a pudding. And she's like, Andrea, it's not actually a pudding. I'm like, oh, got it. And then there's one more, and I can't seem to remember what the other one is, but they look kind of like croissants. They're rolled up. They're kind of fun. So I'm working on planning that. Some things I've been doing in Jackson County, I worked with Carla Gearing, our health and well-being educator, to do their BLAST program, which is their after-school program in the Black River Falls School District. We talked about like money management with kids, which was a lot of fun. Also realized that kids really don't understand money. So because we'll do a grade level each week, and so we would either build it up or build it down after what the last group did. We were playing a game, and I had printed out all these dollar bills and whatnot, and I was watching this group, and one of them's like, well, I don't have enough money. And I'm like, you have a 10 in there. You have money. He's like, oh, that's a 10? I'm like, no, it's not a 1, it's a 10. So I was like watching them. I'm like, no, you're not doing this right. And I don't like doing that with kids, but I'm like, ooh, we need to understand more about like how much money we have in our hand and what we're going to do with it and how to save it and how to spend it. So that was actually a pretty good program, and the kids did learn a lot, and I felt better leaving the classroom afterwards going, okay, I think we got to them. I also have been helping our Parents and Leaders program there do their bylaws review, because I think their bylaws are like almost 10 pages long, and there's a lot of stuff that can go. And so just advising them on how we can fix it, how we can update things, and moving forward from there. And since I'm finishing up in Jackson County, I have been organizing their upstairs storage room. I like to joke that 4-H has a lot of baggage, because it does. And there's a lot of random stuff that needs to be gone through and purged once in a while, and nobody likes to do that job, and not that I like to do it, but I will if I have to. So I've been spending a lot of time organizing it and getting ready for when the next educator comes in so that it feels a little more clean and easy to understand, because I don't even know what's up there. I should, as the educator, I should know, but I haven't taken the time, and there is no time like the present, so.
I appreciate you getting it, for the person that's gonna take over for your successor and making it easy for him or her. That's good of you, so they don't come in with.
Well, and the way that room has been left, there's like just boxes from someone who did a program, and so there's like little bits and pieces of things in it, and I'm like, what if I walked in? And granted, I'm not going to say I'm an experienced educator or
What if
anything.
you were newer?
If I was newer, that would be very overwhelming, and I'd go, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do with this stuff? And then you just sit. For me, I would let it sit like I have. So now I'm like, we're just gonna get rid of it, and I'm like, nope, toss. Poor maintenance probably thinks that I'm just made of plastic bags, so we're throwing out a lot. So on to what I'm doing in Trempealeau County. I have been training a lot of volunteers in VIP. I have done so far 8 Hispanic adults for the Grupo Folklorico, which is a Latinx dance club. So majority of them do speak Spanish, and I've been helping to get them ready to oversee this club that they're working with. So mainly, it's a challenge because like 4-H is ready for people who speak Spanish, but yet it's also me reminding the state like, hey, we need more resources for this. This is something that we need to be really supporting. What can I do to help them be successful? So it's been a good learning experience for everybody, and we're working through it. I also did a outreach event where I went to the Whitehall FCCLA trunk or treat in October on the 30th. So we made like we took gloves and we put candy in them, and it was like one of the hands of 4-H. And we put brochures for kids, and we had about 150 youth that I made contact with, which was awesome. Just trying to encourage people in different spaces to ask questions about 4-H, because a lot of people say, oh, well, I know what 4-H is, but then I don't think they do, or they know because they've heard of it. So trying to reach them at different spaces and get different people interested. And then that wasn't last weekend. It's been a little bit, but I went to a Hispanic health fair in Independence, and I made contact with about 54 people. With 4-H, so we talked about like what we do and how kids can get involved, and we had a lot of conversations, and I want to do a lot more promotion, because once again I want people to be asking more questions about it, and there's no other way to ask a question than to ask the person who runs the program about 4-H. And I'm kind of proud I got one of those like spinny wheels for giving out like swag and whatnot, and it actually was a lot of fun. There was a lot of kids that loved it, but then adults loved it, and it gave people a reason to engage with our booth, which I was very excited about. And we gave away a lot of stuff, which to me is the whole point. I want things to be covered in clovers, which, speaking of clovers, not that I need a pat on the back, but I've been working on making stickers that I'm going to send out to all the members in Trempealeau County that have re-enrolled. So I want to make sure that I'm covering the county in clovers, because I want people to be seeing a clover and going, hey, what is that? Because I will admit, whenever I go out wearing a 4-H clover, people will stop and ask me questions going, what is 4-H? What does that mean? What do the H's stand for? So I want to make sure that others are getting to do that same thing, because 4-H kind of does this thing where you make an instant connection with someone else who's in 4-H. You don't even have to do the whole, oh, where are you from? They're like, oh, you're in 4-H? Sweet, I was also in 4-H. And you get to have that fun conversation, so.
My grandma was in 4-H, so she likes some on this committee. Nice. Way back when.
Way
She's
back
80-some years old, so it's been around forever.
It actually
It
has.
actually has, yeah.
But I'll pass these around if you guys want to look at them, and if
Yeah.
you want
Cool.
some, you are more than welcome to. I want to make sure that we have clovers in good places, so if you have any questions about what I've been doing.
So you designed them, had them made?
Mm-hmm. So I used Canva, and I made them, like, I will admit I'm not like the graphic design person, but I found some templates, and then I made them work with what I wanted them to do, and then I sent them off to a sticker company. Like, there was a couple deals, so there was like 100 for $19, so I got
That's a good deal.
100, and then there was 300 for like 30. So I'm not, I'm not spending like hundreds of dollars, but hundreds of dollars gets me like over 1,000 stickers. So I'm being thrifty, and I'll stop for a little bit so that I can send them out and get kids covered in clovers.
Awesome. You know how, like, stickers, they seem to be pretty reasonable in price. It's like cheap outreach without spending tons of money.
Well, and I'm hoping it can be kind of not like a collector's item, but like, oh, you got that sticker? I want that sticker. Giving them out at events that kids are at, and just not like patches for boys and girls or Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, but just oh, you're in 4-H. Now we have something that says Trempealeau County 4-H instead of just 4-H. So, yeah. Any other questions?
That's awesome.
No? All
Any
right.
other questions? All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll pass out mine,
You got it.
and I'll just pass around this thank you letter as well. Just wanna take one.
Yeah, I'll pass it. Yep.
So, just as a reminder, so I'm a youth and families educator, so I'm split between those two kind of duties.
Adam, can you hit your mic?
Yeah, so Adam Trenzo, youth families educator. I've got it split up between youth education, family education, building capacity, and state leadership. Under youth education, a lot of my work has been working with after-school programs, in-school programs, specifically teaching STEM education and supporting teachers in that role. So the picture at the bottom here is at the Whitehall School District working with their third grade teachers and students to integrate engineering concepts, have youth see themselves to be able to do some of that work, potentially see the career connections there as well. So kind of working along those lines. This thank you letter here that's coming around is from the Alliance for Youth that I chair. And we were able to raise funds and through a scholarship process, Vacation Bible School and Ettrick applied, amongst a few others, and they sent a thank you saying thank you for funding this program. So that's what that is. Let's see, family education. I've been working a lot with the jail. When I was on the jail tour with the sheriff's like, oh, yeah, Adam, you're here. Like, this is your room right here. This is where you do the programming. And so, like, yeah, I pointed out as, like, the primary programming person within the
Supportive
jail.
sheriff, I like that.
Yeah. And by and large, it has been extension. There have been a few others that have been kind of long-standing, but extension's really been pushing forward the connections and the abilities of the jail and saying we want to be able to do more and help these people while they're in jail, while they're ready to kind of reflect and make some of those changes. And they've been very supportive of that, and we've been supportive of them kind of moving forward. Also been working with a newer diversion program coordinator, Megan Peterson, to kind of rework how we work together. And she has people who are diverted from the criminal justice system. So rather than going to trial or facing sentencing, they get diverted to her because it's kind of their first offense. And rather than going through that and getting X amount of dollars or whatever else it might be, they work with people in the community, educators, to get the skills they need to make sure they never get involved with the justice system again. And it's very rigorous and frustrating and annoying for them, so it's still painful in that regard. But part of that is just connecting them with resources. If their parents, like talking through some of their parenting things, talking about managing stress. Sometimes they're younger folks too. There's a fellow who comes in almost weekly now, and I kind of work through a lot of different kind of behavioral processing things, kind of setting them up with like work connections in the area, and you kind of see this slow, steady progress of like working with one person and improving their outlook for employment, their outlook on life, their living situation, lots of different things that extension can kind of nudge or support people in. So that's been a very helpful process. I work with a team to do Focus on Father evening programs. So it's a monthly program where fathers from all over the state can join into the evening call, and we just kind of have a space for dads to talk through some of the issues or concerns that work with them and provide a little bit of education alongside of it. And that's in addition to our regular kind of general parenting programs.
What kind of attendance do you have virtually if it's statewide?
Typically, we'll have somewhere between 20 and 30 attendees. Some of them are just kind of folks who want to know more. A lot of them are also people who maybe have some need or requirement to attend education, and this would meet that need in some way. So sometimes we'll have social workers who will either hop on or they'll say that they've been referred as well. But what's really nice there is we get a lot of intergenerational mixes too. So you'll have grandpas, you'll have foster dads, you'll have brand new dads, some that they're waiting for their child to come, and being able to connect those people together and share some of their knowledge and share some of their wisdom in that, just kind of connecting generations in that is very powerful, and it's good to see. The building capacity has been something that's been kind of a stronger focus within Extension writ large. And so there's several different groups that I've been working with. The Alliance for Youth, which is who was able to provide the funds for that particular community program for the thank you card. The Resilient and Trauma-Informed Communities, which typically brings together twice a year all of the different coalitions, all the different kind of social services organizations, and it's a very large networking event that I run with Gunderson Clinic as well. And we just get together and we cover a topic, we gather resources. So this last one was mental health resources. So being able to get all those people in a room in Trempealeau County, which is kind of spread out. The people in Arcadia don't really often contact the people in Osseo for support or resources, but they use the same ones. And so getting all of them together is very beneficial to share best practices, what works, who they've been accessing, and you see some very, very strong connections there. A lot of times at those meetings, somebody's like, oh, I'm gonna reach out to that youth mental health provider in this area and have them come to our school. And then you check in again 6 months later and say, yeah, oh yeah, they're working out really well. It's reaching a lot of our youth, and we wouldn't have had that connection if we didn't meet at this meeting. So yeah, that's a very strong and profound connection point. And the other thing when we're talking about like onboarding new staff and turnover, Extension often fills that role. And I get referrals who come in every so often where it's like, my boss said to come talk to you because you know people in the county. And I say, yep, come in and sit down and we'll chat for an hour. We'll talk about the map of the Trempealeau County, who to talk to in each of those communities. And they leave with a laundry list of connections that would have taken months and maybe would have never happened if they didn't come in and chat with me first. So you talk about like turbocharging somebody's onboarding. They leave with all these connections, and I've been able to build up this network where monthly they can plug into a meeting and get connected with all the critical players within the county within a certain field. So if they're looking for how to address youth risk behaviors, I can say, all right, in 2 weeks, hop on to our Alliance for Youth meeting, and you'll be in touch with all the school social workers, Gunderson, different people from like the Children's Network, and there you go. And so from those meetings, they get all their connections and are able to reach out to the communities more effectively. I also want to talk about the Jail to Community Reentry Coalition and the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. We just completed a year-long process of mapping the criminal justice system. And from that, we were able then to have a very large meeting between all of the criminal justice key players and a lot of our community partners talking to each other about how we can address things like mental health and resources for people in the justice system. So from that, we've been able to form some working committees, and we're already seeing strong connections of kind of reaching out and making some of those connections. So that's been a very, very positive process as well.
Adam, can you elaborate more about where we're at with the teen court program?
So that's something that we've been building at and kind of exploring some, and I think Jacob can probably tell a little bit more about that as he's been kind of looking into the viability of some of those programs. So I don't know if you want him to break it now or if you want him to.
Up to Jacob.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Is your mic on?
Nope, sure wasn't. I had just asked Adam to explain if he could about the where we're at with the teen court program, and he actually suggested that maybe you could give an update on that.
Yep. So since our last meeting, I've started as the Restorative Justice Coordinator for Trempealeau County. and 2 days a week, so 40% time. And I've been doing, like you said, a lot of work in studying feasibility. And so basically, I've met with 3 or 4 people statewide who have teen court programs, and a few other people who have started very similar programs to teen court. And the one big thing they have stressed to me is funding is key. You're going to need your funding first. So, talking with Annie, talking with Leslie, talking with a few other people, like they said that the teen court programs cost a significant amount of money, and that is the biggest downfall why some of them don't last as long as you would like. So realizing this, my effort has into like figuring out exactly how much money it takes to start a teen court, but realizing that with like my first year would probably be spent doing a lot of like securing funds to possibly start a teen court. But based on the general feasibility, it takes a lot of money, and I think it would be more feasible to start another program than to start a teen court from scratch. The people who have started teen courts have been working, they are experienced educators who have been doing it for 15 to 20 years, and then they relied on that 10 to 15 years worth of capacity building. I just don't see that as being feasible in Trempealeau County with me just starting. And then like I have to build that capacity and make those connections to start the teen court. Just from a feasibility issue, like I don't have the money and I only have 2 years in this position, as well as I'm only 40% time. There's a lot of things that make the teen court a little bit less feasible for me than other people. So I hope that helps.
It does. Can you elaborate a little bit on what the expenses are related to teen court?
So there's a few things, but the number one thing they talk about is being able to pay the students. That increases your participation, and it helps, like, when you're securing internships, you need to be able to, like, that's what we would be trying to do, is an internship type employment. But you have to pay the kids, or pay the kids, number one. The second thing is overhead for training your volunteers, for travel and stuff like that. So there's a few different things which cost. Number one would be like getting participation, incentivizing, and then paying the people for their time. And then number two is providing and getting trained and having all that core group of not only volunteers, but people you need to pay for, because there's a significant amount of training that needs to go into the volunteers and the people who administer the teen court, as well as the students.
Okay, thank you.
I think that was pretty much what I was gonna mention about my work. I don't know if anybody had any questions.
I don't think so.
Looks like a lot of good work.
All right.
Thanks, Adam. Does red mean it's on? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've done this. So you have my report. I think this was supposed to be for October, and I've done a lot of things since then, so I'll try to fill in the holes. But a lot of what I've done this fall has been around local government education. I just finished up training election workers here in Trempealeau County, and then also in Jackson and Clark County. I trained almost 400 election workers in about a week's time, which is a little grueling, a lot of time on my feet. And I worked with the Clark County clerk to develop the training for the election workers that needed hours in before their terms ended the end of this year. And then next year, I'll probably do it all over again. So that's a big program and a lot of teaching in a short amount of time. I did publish a journal article on a survey that I did of election workers, and I was invited to attend an election symposium at Auburn University in Alabama this fall, and was also kind of a last-minute trip, so I had to rearrange some things to go there, but it was a great opportunity to meet people from all over the United States that work on election issues, especially the administration part of it. I also had to move things around and leave Alabama to get to Green Bay, which is not a direct flight, if you can believe it. And I attended the League of Wisconsin Municipalities Conference, and I was asked to present a grant writing session for local governments that I actually presented at their conference last year, and it must have been well received because they asked us to do a deep dive 3-hour version of it the first day of their conference. And so I did that. It was a great opportunity to talk to municipalities from across Wisconsin, including here in Trempealeau County, about grant writing and grant opportunities for local governments. I also had a chance to present a paper at a human rights lecture series at St. Francis College in Brooklyn when I was on a personal trip, and they asked me to swing by and present there. And then I also was asked to speak on how to run for local office to the Realtors Association in Eau Claire, and there were people from Chippewa County, Clark County, Dunn County, Eau Claire County, and Trempealeau County in that session, and that was also a really nice event. I did also travel to Rochester, Minnesota. I was asked to present at a conference that Mayo Clinic was having on local workforce needs, and it included a lot of actually doctors that I know and staff members that I know from the Eau Claire facility. So that was interesting to kind of be in a different setting and talk to different people about some work that I had done on pharmacies in this area and just workforce needs that the healthcare industry has. I am on the Wisconsin Downtown Action Council Board. I think I missed our meeting in June because I was at in-person planning with them down in Madison. I also have a meeting with them later this week. And then I've been doing a lot with water testing. I received a grant from our dean to do some targeted water testing for farmers, and I'm working with Marathon County, Jackson County, Clark County, Trempealeau, and Buffalo and Pepin counties to do some targeted water testing. I also have just like a general water testing program here in Trempealeau County that I've been working with the public health department and kind of promoting that, kind of trying to work some of the bugs out of it, which has been a longer process than I thought. It's like I want people to take advantage of it without taking advantage of it. So it's for households, private households to test their water. And what I'm getting are not private household tests back, either businesses or people testing the water in their shop. And so I've been working with Dairyland to push those back and get those off of our invoice, because that's not the intent of the program. So I think, knock on wood, we're on the right page with that now. And then I did get a grant in Trempealeau County for some water testing, and so that has freed up some of this other money that I had from my dean's grant to kind of focus on some of these other counties. And then I don't think anyone's mentioned this yet, but we all went to a all-colleague conference in Madison the first part of November for a couple days, and then we had our civil rights review here the week after for this county. So some of that extension stuff had taken up part of November. And then Steve Ochnick here in our office asked me to help facilitate a group that he works with within Extension across the state on our making an employee resource group for veterans that are in our agency. And so I developed a visioning and strategic session with them and hosted it in Toma, and I met with our colleagues from across the state who are veterans to talk about how Extension can support colleagues that are veterans, and then also develop our programming to veterans here in our community. So we just did that at the beginning of December. So that's my fall in a nutshell.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very busy.
I have a question for you.
Nope,
What are
I'm
you
not
guys
taking
testing?
questions from you, Jacob.
No, just one. What are you guys testing for in your water quality surveys?
Am I what?
For your water testing, what are you guys testing for?
We do the household packages, so nitrates, bacteria, and then just quality.
Okay. Has there been any interest in doing like any PFAS testing, like the forever chemicals and stuff like that?
None.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
In Clark County, we were looking at some testing for atrazine, but again, targeted to areas that we know that would occur
Mm-hmm.
or may occur.
All right.
Questions from people who don't get to see me every day?
You're a busy
I don't get
lady.
to see you every day. I get to see you once a week.
Okay, if no questions, so we're gonna go to Jacob?
Hello. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Okay, I will start off with the horticulture report because I think you have that one in front of you. So like the other educators, I have a few different roles. I have a statewide, I have Jackson, and I have a Trempealeau. So we'll start off with statewide. So statewide, I do the horticulture program meetings where we discuss our plan of work and the direction for the upcoming year. So my plan of work this year really focused on youth education, as well as outreach to elderly individuals, as well as individuals with disabilities. So that will pretty much continue next year. Hopefully looking to ramp up my presence in a few of those, like the elderly and the disabled community. I think I'm doing a really good job reaching out to youth where I'm at. So I also do the Ask a Garden question forum, where if you ask a question on the university website, it gets routed through me if you're in my general area. So I continue to do that. So like Melissa had mentioned, we all had an all-colleague conference, and so I went there and participated as part of the restorative justice side, so I can talk about that in a little bit, as well as we had our civil rights review, and that's to really maintain and improve our outreach efforts and show us where we might be lacking and where we could improve. So in Jackson County, my big program is Nature's Food for Thought. So I work with Carla Gearing, the health and well-being educator here, and we focus on exploring the relationship between plant families, nutrition, and culture. We really use mindfulness and understanding nutrition labels and understanding the role of horticulture in personal and community health. If you don't have food, you're not healthy. So we really focus on those fundamental connections and work from there. What's a multi-county initiative is my Savoring the Season workshop series, where I had a collaboration between the Whitehold, Strum, and Black River libraries, where I gave seven lectures, not different, but seven different lectures, or seven total lectures, about empowering participants with harvesting knowledge, preserving seasonable produce, sustainable local food production. And what we're doing is really aiming for a more eco-conscious and resilient community. And then for specifically Trempealeau County, I had a therapeutic horticulture session at the Whitehall Library. So again, my target group was older individuals and maybe some individuals, some disabled individuals. And so we engaged with plant materials, fostering creative and welcoming what would you call atmosphere, and then we create positive space for interaction and learning. And then you can see a few of the photos from the events. So does anybody have questions on my horticulture report?
I think we're good.
Hearing none, we'll move on. So again, since our last meeting, I started as a restorative justice educator. And again, that is 2 days a week, part-time, 40%. And so again, I'll break it down into like statewide, and then since I'm only Trempealeau. But for statewide, I've joined the Restorative Justice Summit Planning Committee. So that's a statewide group that has a Restorative Justice Summit every year. So I figured since I'm an educator, I might as well join that and really get connected with a few of the people who are doing exactly what I'm doing in the state. So I've become an active member in planning the summit, and the summit should be for 2024 on July 1st. So if you're interested, we can work on maybe getting some individuals from our area to maybe attend this through various ways. Like Adam talks, there's really a building capacity portion of working with the community. And so I go to a lot of the same meetings that Adam does, and I'm in a lot of the same work groups that Adam is, Arctic Resilience, the Alliance for Youth that he chairs, and then the CJJC. So beyond that, I've been making, meeting with a few different schools to really figure out what they can use and where I can fit in. The number one thing is, feasibility and meet them where they're at. So trying to figure out where can I make an impact and where can I apply myself in the most useful fashion. And then a part of that, I've had some few positive meetings, a lot of eye-opening meetings where they've discussed you're going to need funding first, so secure funding through maybe some SciFar grants or a few different sources, but they really suggested that number one, secure funding is going to help you go a long way in making any program sustainable. And then another direction that I've been going is, part of these working groups, we made it a priority to really educate the public about restorative justice techniques and what goes into them. And so that's where I fall into in the work groups is either not offering education specifically, but facilitating educator experiences. So I'm looking to collaborate with Carla, and then hopefully I can maybe bribe Melissa into doing some QPR training in the county to really help with trauma-informed care, and then really just helping the training in Trempealeau as a whole. So,
Awesome.
does anybody have questions on that portion?
Nope, I think you summed it up.
All right, thank you.
All right, did you want to speak on Steve, or?
I'll speak on Steve. He was not able to join us this morning. He is on intermittent family leave. His wife is still cancer-free, but she had
Rotator cuff?
shoulder surgery, so that takes longer to recover from than 2 days. But he's been very busy. He is working on a curriculum for a grain marketing program targeted to new farmers and farmers who are transitioning. And they had a launch on December 7th, and there was one launch in Eau Claire and then 2 other locations. And they had good turnout. And they will be doing 2 in-person sessions at Jackson Electric in February and March. And this is a mixed program, so there'll be an online part and then in-person part of it. And they have the full winter programming is going forward. He has Chris Bandura coming to Blair Community Center on January 13th. Talking about soil fertility. And Rodrigo Whirl I can speak English most days. A state weed specialist will be coming to Osseo and Menominee to discuss weed control and how to recover from the drought. They're doing a Focus on 4-H series this winter and the Badger Crop Connect series in the spring and summer. And he'll be presenting info on the Focus on 4-H event about extending the grazing season during drought. And he is working with a farmer to get a manure and nitrogen management test plot for 2024. And that's part of a statewide grant, an effort to fine-tune manure and nitrogen use to make sure that we minimize negative impacts and maximize positive impacts. And he and I will be headed to Farm Bureau tonight.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know that your dad goes to the Jackson County one, so, no. So he's been very busy, and you have April's reports in front of you as well. The woman is a reporting fiend and always has the information put together. And you have reports going back to July and August, so you have all of those. She's been doing a lot of teaching. What happened is that Monica Kamrowski moved to the cities with her husband, who was restationed up there. So she went up there and gave up her FoodWise position. She still is our Juntos coordinator. And so April's been having to do all the teaching, and that's, I don't know, 7 or 8 sessions a week at least. It's unbelievable. At the same time, she's been trying to find a replacement for Monica. The good news is that our new bilingual educator will be starting on Thursday. Her name is Mariel Ortez. And you might be familiar with her. She actually was one of the WIC staff upstairs in the health department. So we poached. And I don't feel badly at all.
You stole from another apartment, is that what you meant by poach?
No. I mean, she came to us, yes.
Oh, she's the one that decided to change the, wow. You didn't go to them, wow.
Whatever.
Yep, exactly.
So she is working hard to get the education out there, but she has been doing she's been doing all of the education herself. So it's been a little bit hard to get out and do some of her expanded programming because of that. But hopefully with getting a new person on staff, once we get past the onboarding, that will help with that. And she's also been having to expand now that she's the 4-county FoodWise coordinator. So that's where we are with that. I think so. Has everybody had a chance to report?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Any questions for those folks?
Nope, I think we're good. I think we move on to number 6. Business items to discuss and possible action. Number
Okay.
A, staffing updates.
Staffing updates. Well, I told you the important one.
Yes.
Mariel Ortez starts Thursday.
Perfect.
And I have been reactivated in the special system that we have to do I-9 authorization. And the only reason I'm telling you that is I had to go to Pepin County yesterday because the secretary there has taken on a 20% appointment for 4-H while we're working through getting a person hired. And it took me 4 hours to work through all the activation, deactivation, reactivation. And I promised Gwen that once we actually got into the system, it'd take me 10 minutes, but it was challenging, but hopefully it's all ready to go, so I won't embarrass Extension for Mariel. So Mariel is one. The other important change is that we hired Jacob for a 40% educator position, restorative justice educator position. Andrea starts the 1st as your full-time 4-H educator.
The 1st of January? She'll be officially our new.
Yeah?
Yes.
Awesome, congratulations.
Yes.
Well, you guys approved it.
Yeah, we did.
So it's all good.
It's all good.
So, but I suspect that although she won't be programming in Jackson County, there will still be some questions and things that she may end up having to answer.
Help out the new.
Well, no, since we don't have a support staff there's stuff that only I can do, and since we don't have anyone in that position, like 4-H Online, so approving enrollment, and then their newsletter, so I'm gonna do some of those things until somebody gets on board.
Good thing you have that cross-training then.
I know,
That'll
right?
help you fill in and tell.
Yeah. Am I missing any other staffing updates? There's so many, I have never had this many openings at one time, so I'm kind of trying to keep everything straight, but we're moving forward and it works.
Move on to B.
B, do you want to share the BEAD local planning grant survey reimbursement information, or shall I? Okay. We received a BEAD local planning grant reimbursement because Melissa was the individual in Trempealeau County who completed that survey. And they had the people that had developed it and were administering it as an incentive had offered up that money. So we put together a resolution that we are asking you folks to act on so we can put it into our non-lapsing fund and help support our county educators in their work involving broadband equity, access, and development, which is a state priority these days. And I shall read it to you. It says, whereas UW-Madison Division of Extension, Trempealeau County would like approval for the BEAD local planning grant survey reimbursement, and whereas this grant in the amount of $1,000 is intended to support county educators in their work involved in the education regarding BEAD, broadband equity, access, and development. Now be it resolved that Trempealeau County accepts this update and that money be deposited in the revenue account 101.46769 and expense account 101.55622.99 for BEAD local planning grant survey reimbursement as a non-lapsing account. And it just has your name, and I have one copy to be passed around. Are there any questions before you take action?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
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 Okay.
So I know that economic development, let me just think, or is it ELU? There is work going on in regards to broadband access in other departments.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wanting to be sure that we're connecting with one another to, I don't know, provide the best possible services and be efficient in all of those things.
Melissa?
Oh, I thought you had something you were doing.
No. I'm in a bad mood, so.
I'm not in a bad mood. So, yes, this is a separate grant than the full-on BEAD grant. This money is meant for planning purposes, so what I see in the future, if there is a, like a broadband meeting or development, that this is the money that will be used to host something like that.
And in collaboration, in partnership with.
With not only ELU, but other partners, TCC has been really instrumental in broadband development. I'm on a state broadband team that actually helped put this survey together, so.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So, and yes. Any other questions about this resolution?
No, I'll make a motion to approve.
All second.
All right. All those in favor say, I guess there's any discussion? Any more discussion?
Further discussion? No further discussion.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Carried. So we need to sign that and go forward.
Yes, so there's actually places for each of you to put your
I can do that.
fabulous,
John Hancock.
John Hancock.
I'll start the signature. How does that sound?
There you go. So if you could sign where it is pointed out, that would be great. And I am going to pass out the 136 contract.
Yeah.
Now, let me, this is a contract that the county and the university sign each year, accepting the services of, extension education in the local community. It's very standard, pretty much identical across the state, and it talks about, what the length of the contract is for. It's for a year. It follows the calendar year, and talks about how, we can amend it or terminate it. It talks about the responsibilities of extension and the responsibilities of the county. Then it has the main part would be the costs and the other things that are supposed to be provided. And then just talks about liability and billing and so forth. Like I said, very standard. The big difference is the positions and the cost. Let me preface this by saying you will, unless you write it down and agree to it, you will never be charged for more than the total amount that's in the contract. I have counties that worry about that, and it's like, no, you'll never be charged for more than that. And that usually is a function of maybe somebody retired or left. And we have to, we don't have to adjust the contract right away. You'll be charged the cost you incurred. And so this contract includes Adam as the youth and families educator full-time, the ag educator at half-time, a 4-H program educator at full-time, and that's the third column, FTE, and a community development educator at half-time. And if you have at least one full-time educator, you get a $10,000 discount, and that's in the contract. And then if there are fully funded or other county contributions positions, that gets put in there below the line. And so the total amount would be $157,401, and that was the number used in our budget.
Okay.
And there's also the expectation that, we have travel and job expenses, we have offices where we can do our work, and other things. I would say most importantly, high-quality support staff, which we have. I don't know, do you have any specific questions? I don't know with hiring of the administrator, and he has not started yet, whether you will turn the responsibility over to that individual or maintain it yourself
For contracts,
for contracts.
I think that's something that's on the table for discussion.
Okay.
We're in the works of. that's up in
Discussing
the air.
through that.
Yep.
But right now, at this point in time, the county committee signs off on it, and it's on the last page. As do I, and then we send it on down to Madison for them to sign off where they sign off. I'm not sure what other questions that you have. It's never been a big issue here. It's, when I started, we also had contracts, but we never talked about them, and this is the opportunity where we bring them up once a year. You will be billed twice a year. We'd like to say March and September, but it's when we get to it. So you'll be getting your second bill. So we pay half the amount each time, so. Any questions?
If I remember right, I looked at this in fair amount of detail last year because I was new and had a lot of questions, but I don't have any concerns this time around.
Yeah. It's pretty standard.
And it was approved through the budget.
The amount that's in the contract was
yes.
approved through the budget. We need to approve the contract separately.
Yes,
Because that is a function of the Ag and Extension Education Committee.
And I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the contract.
I so move.
Second.
We have a first and a second, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstained? Or how does that work?
Opposed?
Opposed. Thank you.
Opposed.
Hey, it's been a while. All right, then we abstain? Okay,
All
we're
right.
gonna move forward on that. We'll do what we do
And
with
you
signing.
can start it.
Okay, and I'll move forward with it. I want to ask you on the last one, being that had to do with money, did we need to do a roll call?
Only if we're taking them out of the general fund, I believe.
Okay.
is when we have to-
I just wanted to make sure that we did it right.
Where it says county representative. Pass it to me, because I have to sign it too.
Everybody has to sign this one.
Yeah.
All right, number 7, let's set the next meeting date. And I guess that would probably, I'm guessing in February? Is that our thoughts?
Think so. Pass that on back.
And what do we normally do? Third week?
Yeah,
You guys?
we have been in the past trying to have it right after the county board.
So we'll do the 20th? Is everybody good with the 20th?
That is election day.
Oh, then.
That'd be bad.
Will there be election that day?
Okay, when you get there, next meeting date will be February 20th, but as she pointed out, it's
Yeah.
election day.
But there
That's the spring primary, which there might, knock on wood, might not be an election. So
If there is an election, does that make you,
I am unavailable.
Unavailable.
And sometimes others are too, depending on election worker needs across the
And
county, so.
depending on elections too, maybe not this one, some of us county board members may not be available too because we're involved with some of the elections, one way or another. We'll see how that goes, yeah.
Thoughts?
Works for me.
Can have a meeting without me.
Yeah, right now it works for me on this one.
Shall we go ahead with the 20th?
Yep.
Let's
At
do it.
8:30? Or what time?
8:30 works.
Yeah,
right.
Works with me.
Kevin, does that work for you? We did this without even touching base.
Yes, that works for me.
All right. And I will send a message to Tammy, so it's official now.
Good deal. All right, then I'm going to
Declare it adjourned.
declare it adjourned at 9:45 a.m.